See, I wanted to read out of this book, but I can't really see through this mask. Uh, have you heard of Heidegger? See, Heidegger is my favorite philosopher. I bought this book this morning. Yesterday, I was out having some tea with the designer. Pierre, you want to come out here from infamous brand and designer, infamous brand and design company, Tegucigalpa. And he was going on and on about this Heidegger. So, I went out and bought the book. And I love Heidegger. He was a great man. Kim really hurt me. She hurt me bad, I love my family. Ever since I joined the Kardashian family, I've never been the same. Why you do this to me, Kim? Why you do this to me? I should have learned my lesson. I should have known you was for the streets. And now you know the Pistol Pete thing, and you're running around like a hound in heat. A bitch running the streets. Yes, a bitch is a female dog. How could you do this to me? All we've been through. What do you have to say about that? You don't understand. It's not what you think. You should be more patient. You should be more emotional. You should be more emotionally literate. You have to understand. I'm just focusing on my career. Please, don't speak to me this way, Kanye. It's yay. This is a paperclip. Now put operation in front of it. Now I want you to say Operation Paperclip. Let's try this. Operation. Oh, Dayz.
Bro, what are you doing? What did I tell you about playing with my equipment?
Not to play with it.
Look, Kanye. Said you could stay the night, sleep on the couch.
Yay.
Leave my equipment alone. Turn off the camera.
Okay.
Turn off the camera. Okay?
This is a paperclip.
Shut the door. I told you to leave my equipment alone. I don't mind you coming by. Okay? Just go over there. You try to help brothers out, man. I'm telling you, man. Brothers ask for a little help, try to reach out, do a little something. And before you know it, they're playing with your equipment. I said you can get the couch, stay out of the studio. But y'all know, yay. Just can't leave stuff alone. Like a little kid. What a week. You know, just when you thought you've seen it all, just when you thought you've been in the truth long enough to not ever be surprised by anything. And then you see Kanye West, Ye, on Alex Jones. Wow. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about it. You know, we had a whole show planned a week ago. We was going to get into all kinds of interesting things as usual here. But Thursday was something special. Thursday was something special. For those of us that felt that special tingle. For those of us that could step outside of the hard work, step outside of all the drama, and have a little fun for a second. Just a little bit of fun. Right? A little bit. Let's just have a little bit of fun, a little good time. I couldn't believe it. You know, regardless of the distractions, of the psyops upon psyops, it was pretty entertaining, man. I'm talking about grade A entertainment. A special psyop. Yes, KH. It was a very, very, very special psyop indeed. And so today we're just going to talk about it. I'm going to put out some of my ideas regarding the situation. Tyler King says, would you have Ye on your show? I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know, because I'm going to be real. Well, I was a bit surprised to see him on AJ, and I was even more surprised to see him running around with Fuentes. I gotta be completely honest and straight up about it. It was a bit creepy. Too close to home, man. Too close to home. See, us normal people that have been doing this for years, working on our, skill sets, studying, developing our creativity through content creation. We have almost a buffer zone. We live in the real. Most of us, at least. Well, maybe not most of us. Some of us. And so there's always this buffer that keeps us separated from the entertainment world, right? Celebritism, etc. And it's kind of like a safe space, to borrow one of their terms, that we enjoy, and that is nice because we get to stay in reality and we don't fall into this clown world. So once you start getting too close to that clown world, it's just a bit scary. Now, I fear no man, but and maybe this is just me personally. I do this work because, one, I love it. Two, the Most High God has designed me such that I can do it. And three, I feel it's a duty to serve you, right? After I serve my God and King. So for me, this is just life. This is what we do. It has nothing to do with fame, getting out there, becoming part of some machine. In fact, me personally, I look down on that. And not to say I'm better, but that's the world. I try to stay apart from the world as much as possible. So for me, yes, community. Shout out to Rob Tick, spot on, bro. So for me, when I start seeing that world, which it is right now, hence all we're seeing, and I'm going to speak to this today, we're seeing a merging of worlds. Okay. Because the normal man, the average Joe, has a lot of power today. Okay. And the powers that should not be want a piece of that, I personally believe. And, they have no choice, really, because the average Joe today can do big things on their own. What this does is it disrupts the social engineering apparatus such that they have to infiltrate. They have to, in a sense, integrate, right? Join our team. See, buckle up, guys. We've been talking about this for a long time. I told you things were weird, and we're going to get much more weird. And here we are. So, honestly, I don't know if I wouldn't even feel comfortable if someone from that world reached out to me. Okay, like that is just I'm not. Just leave me alone. I'm not part of none of that stuff. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm not here to do anything but serve the Most High and put out good quality work with the skills I have been given. Okay. Now, yeah, I've heard a lot of guys say, oh, yeah, because now it's very possible, guys. See, this is the thing. It's very possible for Kanye West to be on this show. That's how crazy things are right now. That's how wild things have become in a matter of years. And for me, it's a bit creepy. I'm not about that. See, some people may get things twisted over here. They think, they see other YouTubers and influencers and they start to paint any content creator with that broad brush. But I'm just a simple man. None of that stuff means anything to me. Okay. It's about the truth and y'all. That's it. So for me, I'm trying to stay clear and away from all that's coming, because it's coming. It's coming, guys. Over the next 2 years, you are going to see things that you would never have imagined. And Thursday, that kicked it all off. In my view, Thursday was an initiation. Thursday was an introduction. Thursday was, in a sense, a trailer. Thursday was a trailer for the big movie we're all about to be in for the next few years. We are going through a massive transition, and we in a sense, we track this transition here on this channel through technology, transhumanism, and the political shifts and technological shifts and transitions as we go into this new digital world, this new digital age, digitization. But now the information war, hence InfoWar, AJ, is taking its next step. And I think that's what we saw on Thursday. Was the first true strike of the information war. And I'm going to try to lay out some of my ideas today with regard to that. But I could have fun. We could step outside of things and just be normal for a second and be silly. I love to be silly. I've always been this way. I can't help who I am. But there's a lot of serious stuff going on too at the same time, man. Like big time. Psyops, says Jules. You better believe it. But I'm looking at it this way. It's clearly, psyops are all about, everything we're seeing right now is based in psyops for the most part. But there's psyops that are designed, right, by men. Okay. And I think those are the ones we refer to most of the time. Definitely, those are here and now. But there's another type of psyop that's going on. It's a type of, and I guess psyop wouldn't be the proper term, but it looks the same. It's hard to tell the difference, and that's the spiritual workings. And I might be alone here in this. Everyone's talking about this. I know everyone has their perspectives and positions, and I respect them all. But this is a massive spiritual working right now. I think what we're seeing right now is a battle. We're seeing a big battle right now between powers and principalities and the flesh on the earth. I really believe we are seeing a massive spiritual battle right now. So let me preface some of this with some basic ideas. I think aside from the spiritual shift, because this is a spiritual shift under the guise of culture and politics and media, but this is actually a spiritual shift we're undergoing right now. We're going into this next spiritual era, I believe, of a new Gnosticism, a new mystic era, a new mysticism. We got a taste of this with the contagion of 2020, the Skinnerian box that we all were in for about 2 years that they've now let us out of, this mystical science PSY that everyone's supposed to believe in and have faith in those experts. This was in my view, the introduction to this new type of mysticism that they want all to follow. Now we're going into the next stage of that through language, an information war, using language, symbolism, many other things. Now, this is a multifaceted, multi-layered thing, so I'm going to try to walk us through some of these things, at least from my perspective. Aside from the spiritual and powers and principality shift, we have a cultural paradigm shift, a massive one. And free speech is being used as that, I guess we can call it a transitional object for those that are familiar with developmental psych. Free speech is, in a sense, a type of transitional object. As we transition into this new stage, the question is, what will it be? Will it be Orwellian, a type of Orwellian environment for speech, or will it be a new wild, wild west? Or could either just be a move, to create a synthesis down the line? I'll talk about that a bit today. Of course, spiritual warfare is at hand. Yes, Gnosticism replaces Christianity. 363 Kanye. That's what I'm getting at. Full circle. Right, we're going back to the ages of old. We're going back to the ancients. The spiritual workings, rituals, and occult schools, mystery religions. We're going back to that. All under the guise of biotechnology, transhumanism, and environmentalism or ecofascism. Also, I believe we're experiencing the coming of a falling away, or maybe we're undergoing the falling away right now. We'll talk about that a bit. Yeah, pagan worship. Yep. Pagan revival. It's coming. And of course, chaos and magic. I believe what we saw on Thursday was a precise, and I'd say well executed example of chaos magic. And I put chaos magic with a CK, referring to the work of Crowley. And we'll talk about that today as well. Also, there's a spirit of rebellion. You know, a lot of people want to say it's the tiny hats. Of course, it's the element of systems, just the nature of fallen man. All of these things, of course, play a role, especially when we think about the spatio-temporal. But there is a bigger spiritual working that's happening. And I believe one thing it's playing on is the spirit of rebellion, getting all sides to rebel, playing the extremes or utilizing the extremes to attack the middle, to create a synthesis. And rebellion is that which is being tapped in us all, whether you're on the left or you're on the right, even those in the middle. They have something for you all to rebel against. Not much is more powerful than that spirit of rebellion in the fallen man. Aside from lust and pride, it's a massive part of our confusion and our lost nature that is, in a sense, being exploited, right? It's being harnessed. It's interesting, too, because you think about it, it's right at the tail end of this massive medical psyop we've been undergoing. So now most people today, the average person today is confused, disillusioned, ready to give up, or ready to comply and submit, or fight. All of these different emotions and spirits are being exploited. And a lot of people are trying to make sense out of it all. Now, I think that's just one thing I'm always doing here, trying to make sense of things. I think that's natural, especially for any thinking type. But this is not supposed to make sense. What you saw Thursday is not supposed to make sense. Chaos magic isn't supposed to make sense. Yeah, we are in the days of Noah again, yes, quite literally. Spot on. It's all happening in real time. What's amazing is how few people recognize it, and how many of us are just living like nothing's all that bad. And that might continue. I believe, a lot of guys, especially in these communities, they push the fear and the gloom and doom and, oh no, the world's going to end. All this apocalyptic talk. No. I believe it will be quite the opposite. And I've said this. Most people won't even notice. Most people won't even notice. Now, this isn't to say there won't be any, food shortages or anything like that. Who knows when and how those things are going to play out. I don't believe there will be some massive crash in the economy. Those things aren't necessary with the level of control and influence they have on the populations via mediated experience devices, social media, mainstream media, popular culture, politics. They have the populations by strings. We're in the position now as a civilization where war and these things aren't really necessary because we're so far gone. It's like all they have to do is nudge. They call it choice architecture. We'll get into that eventually. Things are a lot more simpler than a lot of people make out, unfortunately, for them. Most people won't even notice when the ish has really hit the fan. And I argue it already has. Because the future isn't scary. The future isn't physical. The future is virtual. The future will happen in bedroom communities online. The future will happen in digital silos. Most people will not even notice. So this isn't supposed to make sense. That's the whole thing about controlled demolition. That's the whole thing about breaking down to build back up. It can't make sense. Can't make spaghetti out of sand. So then there's freedom of speech, right? So a big thing now is, what is this? The freedom of speech absolutism is a big topic right now. And I think that is being propped up to be removed. And also the obsolescence of free speech, as well as the obsolescence of Christianity, biblical Christianity, will and truth. Now let's get into some of these further ideas. So there's a lot of mainstream narratives going around right now. And part of the chaos magic is the multitude of psyops, right? So everyone's getting played, literally, left, right, middle. Everyone's getting played. I think the left, what we see in the left is this whole thing about like, oh no, this will normalize Nazism. The whole fear about Elon, he's here. Oh no, he's taking over Twitter. They're gonna normalize Nazism and hate. So that's one. And this, in a sense, could be used to victimize a protected class, right? Whether it be the Jays or the gays. You guys understand how that works. Propping up protected classes, as well as creating a problem to roll in the solution of what I call through speech reform. I guess we could call it internet standards, right? Online speech standards. This has always been a problem because, see, the internet's new, or should I say it's young. These social media communities are young. Things like Twitter, young. We saw there's little prior development for where we're at legally. For instance, when you think of what happened in 2020 with the scamdemic, they were able to do a lot of illegal things by way of emergency acts, right? There was little law to protect people, to protect people's bodily autonomy. And this is, in a sense, one of the unfortunate things about new tech, specifically with something like mRNA, which is a very novel thing as far as being put into humans. And they were able to literally dose the populations. And there was nothing on the books to protect the people. They were able to circumvent. And we're going to see a lot more of that. And we're going to see that right now with free speech by way of social media. And Elon Musk is leading that. A lot of people trust him. They think he's some great, anti-hero, super savior type. We've done several videos on him. We won't go into too much depth on that, but it's very clear to me that, he's really designing this massive digital prison everyone's been talking about for years. And he's going to do it on the back of alleged free speech. And then you have the right. And the right is interesting because the right is being divided by this. And they think the psyop is, this is just to divide us, which is hilarious because there's so much other things going on. There's so much playing out. It's the way it works. There's about 7 different elements of this, and each group only can see 2 or 3 elements: the left, the right, the center. So the right is divided, right? You have the new right, which we've talked about here. That's playing out, as I stated long ago. What's coming is a new right. this new type of Gen Z conservative right that is what they would call extreme and will be used to bring in a lot of new standards and new orders. It's happening quicker than I'd imagined, but here it is. So we have the new right who thinks Ye is good. He's great. You know, he's fighting for free speech. He's sacrificing himself for us, you know, which is an interesting take. Not to say that that isn't one little slice of this, but that is one view. And then the old right, the MAGA crowd is like, Ye is bad, right? He's hurting the movement. He just wants to separate or divide us. He's just going to make it harder for Trump to get back in. See, our user knows a little something. Says they are adjusting the algorithms and tweaking the quantum AI right now. You better believe it, amongst other things. But that is definitely a massive part of what's happening right now. I can't wait to really dig into some of this stuff as it transpires, because it's going to happen so fast. And like I said, most people won't even know. In fact, when the new changes are here, people will praise them. Wait for it. And then there's the mental illness psyop, right? You see he's mentally ill. Oh, you know, he's just mentally ill. We got to do something about this. Let me show you some images here just for some evidence. Where's the mentally ill one? Here it is. I think this is Jordan Peterson. This is just one example of this view. At the moment, West needs to be protected from himself. Right? That, I think, for me, like, that's the least informed view. The most lazy, ignorant view would be the mental illness view. And unfortunately, that's what you hear from most people. He's crazy or he's ill. And then they'll do the little, like, empathic version. Oh, we need to help him out. If we're serious, we just got to get him some help. It's ridiculous. But what would you expect from the world? What would you expect from the masses, right? From mass man. And then on the left, you see this quite a bit. This is big. People are going to joke about Kanye. People are going to blame his mental health. But the truth is that he's normalizing Nazism for a whole lot of people. I know that word is overused, but folks will be Googling Hitler tonight. It's so incredibly dangerous. And this app, since Musk took over, is playing a disproportionate role in amplifying anti-Semitism through Kanye and the fascists that Elon has allowed back on. No disrespect to whoever this is, but you cannot get any more, to be nice, I'll just say ignorant than that. Okay, here's more left psyop. This is serious problem. There is 1/3 of the country that is white, Christo-fascist. Pay attention to this term, Christo-fascist. This is big. This is big. We're going to see a lot more of this, and we'll get into this a little bit more today. As I said, they're trying to obsolesce biblical Christianity and bring in a new Gaian trans world religion under a false sense of Christianity, a type of Christ consciousness. We'll get there today. What they really want to do is remove the Bible, remove scripture. That's a goal. Deny the scriptural or biblical Christ and sell this new, Christ in Birkenstocks. Okay. Kanye, Ye is assisting there. I'll get there. Christo-fascism will be a new straw man, a new ad hom to remove those of us who believe in the truth. Big part of this psyop can be found there. The MSM should not mainstream these extremists without calling them what they are. Words have great power, the power to incite. That is what is happening, equating words to violence, right? The rise of anti-Semitism and bigotry, both on and off Twitter, is a clear and present danger to the country. The First Amendment doesn't stop someone from being a bigot, but it also doesn't excuse private companies who profit by amplifying hate. It has got to stop now. Here it is. Important terms. Private companies who profit by amplifying hate. This will be used to create social media speech standards. Elon Musk will be the first one to implement them and establish them. Now, we'll be under the guise of free speech. In fact, you will have free speech. I'm working on a video on this right now, so I won't even mention where I'm going there. Well, let me just say a little piece here. You'll have free speech. You will have free speech, but you will not have free reach. Hence digital silos. We'll get there. Here's an image that you will see more of, and this is like a composite here, but this equation, right, where you get this kind of Nazi sentiment, with, you know, the Groyper New Right kind of aesthetic, right? This is a progressive psyop for sure. Definitely. And then you get the centrists in the middle, the libertarians, right, who are basically playing into the mental illness thing. You know, Kanye's crazy. Both sides are crazy. You know, and I'm sure you guys saw the Tim Cast show. That was hilarious. I mean, who watches that show anyways? But just seeing Ye on there was pretty fascinating. And I know why he walked out. Some people say that was a psyop too. Everything to a degree is a psyop spiritually, I would argue, because the Prince of the Air, King of this world, is doing spiritual psyops on a daily basis, working through flesh of men, right? But I think, and this is just my own little view here, I think Tim pissed off Ye before he even came on the show by the black vote comment, but everybody won't understand that. We won't spend any time on it. But Ye was ready to walk out before he walked in. Let's just put it that way. That was clear. Very obvious to me. And it's funny how Tim all of a sudden becomes a conspiracy theorist. He set it up. I think Ye set me up. That was hilarious, man. I couldn't even believe that. I mean, I guess I could. You know, these like, you know, industry people, they can't be honest. They're not real people. You know, they're just not real people. You're not going to be wrong. So then there's the mental health take. Okay. All right. Now let's keep it moving. What's next here? In me, I think it's a spiritual will and intent, what we're seeing right now. Like all these psyops, I do understand that there is an element of actual manned operations going on through media and systems, those who control, those who work in these realms. But I think a lot of what we're seeing isn't coincidence, but it's a response to spiritual workings in the world, the powers and principalities versus the flesh on the earth. It's like we're seeing a battle between the will and intent of man playing out before our eyes, and each individual is under their own spiritual battle. Hence Ye, who's clearly fighting serious spiritual demons, and I would argue is really just an MK Ultra victim that's being put in the spotlight, partly as a joke, but also partly by design. He's being successfully utilized for this massive paradigm shift that we'll all see over the next couple of years. I almost look at Ye as a social lab subject. And what I mean by that is He's like a laboratory rat in many ways. Now, this isn't to say there isn't more to it, because there is. But let me just give you a little perspective of my own. I look at him as possibly we could look at Ye as the character from The Lawnmower Man. If you remember that film, which we've covered here, it aligns perfectly with where we're going technologically, with where we're going virtually. And if you remember this film, this actor, who we could look at as possibly Elon Musk, sees potential in a young, challenged, let's just say, and I'm not trying to say Kanye is mentally challenged, right? You guys get the analogy here. But in a sense, adopting this young boy man boy, bringing him together to introduce him into this new world and utilize him, right? So in the middle of this, we could just be seeing an MK Ultra type of artist, being utilized for this big transition, possibly. And I think of, yeah, this film was crazy, man. I mean, it was just so very, very telling. So I definitely see that going on, for sure. I definitely see this. He's, in a sense, being used for this. And I'm concerned that, and I said this before, that he will, in a sense, be one of these marketing tools for a lot of these new transhumanist technologies that are coming. Actually, well, there's one interesting thing going on right now, and this is, let's think about how recently Ye got kicked off of Twitter, right? And this was his last tweet, I believe, second to last, or maybe this was the final one. Yeah, he says, "Let's always remember this as my final tweet," and then he posts this, and this is, everyone's familiar with this. This went pretty wild or viral. But this figure here is important. This figure here would relate to a lot of the complaints Ye has about the industry. Let's just say that. And Elon says that's fine. And then I think minutes after he was removed. So what we're seeing here is a possible, what I some would say feud, but what I call the battle of the wills, right? We might see this battle of wills between the two. If they do happen to team up, man, you're going to see this thing happen a lot quicker. This world is going to transform technologically so much quicker. But we could see a feud. We could see a battle. It's going to be really interesting. And I remember last time we talked about this, I had mentioned there's a possibility, Elon might say the wrong thing, and Ye just turns on him like he does with many people. It's all a show. It's all theater. But I think this is one of the early aspects of the script is, oh no, Elon against Ye. Will they get along? Will their relationship make it? Yeah. So there's that. And then we have, of course, Ye 2024. Interesting. Is it going to happen, man? I don't know. Of course, no one knows. But knowing the dysregulated way of Ye, he'll most likely move on to something else, get distracted, or something else an event could happen. Let's just say that could change the course of all of this. This whole thing is going to be morphing before our eyes. So we're going to be returning to this as time goes on because so much more is about to unfold. That's obvious. And I think Thursday was an example of how crazy things are actually about to get. It's just like, buckle up, man. Just buckle up. Y'all saw that. That was crazy. That was just crazy. It was so off. It was so far gone. I just had to have some fun with it. Um, and let's see, what do we have next here? Yeah, let's go into this now. Let's go into this. So let me pull this up. So there's different aspects of this. So there's psychological warfare, there's information warfare, there's biological warfare, and there's cultural warfare, all under a spiritual warfare umbrella. So let me show you. I made some visual things here for you, just to give you an example of what I mean. All right, so let's start with psychological warfare. That's the most basic one that everyone's pretty familiar with. Oop, that was the wrong one. Let's see how to. There we go. So psychological warfare, that's obvious what we're dealing with now. Psychological warfare, war on what is real. I call it ontological warfare, warfare on reality, right? War on what is real and what is not real. This is an aspect of metaphysics. So we're dealing with, this is part of the metaphysic war that we're under. So we have, the focal point is the mind, clearly. The mechanism are thoughts. This aims to shape, reshape thoughts, okay? And then the tool, obviously, is devices. Okay, now let's keep it moving. Let's go to info war, hence AJ. And so information war, what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad. In my view, this is the aspect of ethics. So we're, in a sense, like we're going on we're under this massive paradigm shift with technology and politics and culture, but also the philosophical foundation of civilization is being altered. Our ontology, or our metaphysics, our ethics, and also our aesthetics. This is, in a sense, a new axial age, almost. Similar to what we saw like during the time of Aristotle, which I think is fascinating. And clearly the majority of the populations have no idea such a massive shift is undergoing, right? Is occurring right now, right? So for me, it's like, wow, this is huge, very, very huge. So ethics, right? What is right, what is wrong, and what is good and bad? I think we're experiencing this now through Twitter, okay? So what we're seeing through Twitter right now, what's happening right now, literally right now, is this ethics paradigm shift, where they're starting to create new standards for civilization. This is meant to be for everyone, okay? What is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad through speech. So speech and language is being utilized to give us a new type of ethics. So the focal point, of course, is language. Mechanism is words. So this is why we're hearing all of these new words defined, definitions of words changing constantly, because we're being, in a sense, transfigured, I guess, linguistically. We're being taught to use words differently, and we're being taught to name aspects of reality differently. For instance, gender is a perfect example of that. And then tool is applications. So applications are the tool. Most of these experiences and psyops are happening on applications, whether that be Twitter or Instagram, all these different apps. Okay, now let's go to BioWar. So we've spent quite a bit of time addressing this for a couple of years now, and so you guys are all very familiar with this, but it's just another aspect of this massive war we're all under. Biological warfare, what is healthy and biologically safe? That's the main thing here. What is healthy and what is biologically safe? Just like they're redefining and standardizing what they believe is right and wrong, good and bad, at the same time, they're redefining or standardizing what is considered health or healthy and what is considered biologically safe. That's what the past 2 years has been about in great part. So this is the physical aspect. So with psychology and ontology, we get the metaphysics, The physical aspect of this is being done through the biological warfare, through the biology. This focal point here is the body. Okay. And the mechanisms are the sensuous, right? The sensorial, that which is experienced through the senses. And the tool for now is contagion. Contagion has been propped up as the ultimate external threat. And this is the tool utilized to create war. And the interesting part is the contagion aspect is psychological as well, because it doesn't exist in the physical. That's the part of the warfare. Nothing's been isolated. You guys know how it goes. Now, next we have, let's go to culture, which is obvious, cultural warfare here. Cultural warfare. What do we believe in how we should live? Okay, so what we should think is good and bad, what we should think is healthy or safe, what should be right or wrong. What do we believe overall? What is our belief system? And how should we live? This is what culture, in a sense, is for. How should we live? So this aspect is civics. Okay. Focal point, population. Mechanism, relating. It's a war on relationship. Tool, politics, and media. And these are just different examples and expressions of these things. So all of these things are happening at once, guys. At once. The general population has no idea that all of these things are occurring at the same time. Now, they may point out different things, but it's hard to really see reality for what it is unless you can see all the different angles. And these are at least the major angles. There's always more to it, of course. And all of this is beneath the type of spiritual war. Now, when we think of culture, we talked about ontology, we talked about ethics, right? And of course, epistemology we discover with the just another aspect of psychological warfare, but information warfare as well. How do we know what we know? We know what we know through our information, and information has now been turned into ones and zeros or data, hence data-driven epistemology. Everything is discovered through theoretical models, algorithms, etc. Hence the new mysticism. Things will no longer be based in reality, as it were, but now new spiritual chasms and chimeras and all of this gamified, computer-generated, abstract experiences. Okay. So part of cultural warfare, if we're going to talk about philosophy, okay, it's not ontology or it's not metaphysics, it's not ethics, but it's aesthetics. Aesthetics is a huge part of cultural warfare, right? And we see this through the arts, and that's why you see these individuals here. Okay, Andy Warhol, of course, Cardi B. And this character here, this is just showing a type of transhumanist experience, right? Where we're just living through screens. This is a new culture they aim to move us all into, right? Aesthetics. So when I think of aesthetics, there's also this aesthetic war that's part of culture, right? And I see that through the implications of fashion and identity. And that's clear to see, especially with the recent Balenciaga situation, okay? So we see a lot of this high fashion, and this is well known. It's extremely satanic, highly degenerate, and in a sense, very extreme and nihilistic, postmodern, such that it pushes for all of the taboos. It inverts everything. When you look at models, women looking like men, everything is weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, the weirder, the higher fashion it is. It's just absolutely insane. Now, I do get creativity, but when creativity just becomes shock, that, for me, relinquishes the creative element. high fashion industry is trending aesthetics via hip hop culture. So you see a lot of hip hop artists introduce these types, because hip hop, in a sense, is the most popular entertainment, media based aspect of culture for sure. So what's interesting is you see a lot of these aesthetics, these high fashion aesthetics, be introduced to society through hip hop artists. I think Ye is a perfect example of that, and of course his wife, former wife, and celebs in general, right? Celebs in general. So there's this massive push for high fashion and these really weird, I would even argue, off-putting, non-creative ways of appearing through garment. And think about Gucci Mane, for instance. Gucci Mane, right? It's in his name. And then you think of Migos. They became popular through their song Versace. So it's, for me, it's a psyop. It's a type of culture creation that, in a sense, melds this very dark, satanic type of fashion realm with hip hop, such that it creates a product, but more importantly, it creates an aesthetic culture that people employ, that people, in a sense, integrate into their lives. Unfortunately, culture and fashion and aesthetics are part of an identity. So then you have a perfect opportunity for dark spirits and principalities to enter or to integrate with people's identities. And that's precisely what we're seeing now, and what we have been seeing for quite a long time. Now, also the whole Ye and Jones thing, it was just so bizarre. So bizarre. There was this element of trolling. Like, it was pretty clear. Ye was just, he was trolling hard, man. That was a hard troll, hardcore, amongst other things. It's just, honestly, I found it so entertaining. And just to see him on AJ, it's just clown world. It's just, you can't even believe your eyes. But for me, it also exposes this whole thing, right? It exposes the malleability of the public mind and public behavior. And I see that through how people flip-flop on, like the public flip-flops on its positions, and how certain positions, there's like this outrage for only certain things, like the selective outrage. Like, for instance, let me just give you an example. When Nick Cannon was like, white people are a little less closer to animals, true savages. When he did that whole thing, and clearly, this comes from a lot of that. What is that school? Nation of Islam. It's crazy. It's a crazy, a theory, right? Clearly, but people weren't getting locked or shut down for that. People's bank accounts weren't being turned off for that. Right. People, in a sense, it was okay to say that. And then, we could think about when Ye was kind of going at the black community, and that was okay. But would you say certain groups, oh no, we have to shut down everything. We got to deperson you. We got to debank you. So what it does, this whole thing, and it's funny to see Ye switch positions, right? He'll switch positions on different things, and different groups will align themselves with him based on their own preconceived emotional, I guess, positions. And then he'll change, and then they'll go against him. It's just fascinating to see the flip-flop, erratic and chaotic nature of the populations. I think this is also something that's being revealed as well. But I think what's deeper than that, just the revelation of it, what's deeper is the chaos. And I guess what we could call, it's conducive to redesigning a civilization. It's conducive to bringing in a new order, a new standard, a new religion, a new way of life, a new culture, a new environment. It's conducive to all of these things, to literally shake everyone up to the point where no one's making sense. No one's making any sense. No one can be standing on a rock. No, everybody's shifting their views and saying one thing one week and another thing the next. No one's making any logical sense at all. That's by design. I also thought it was pretty interesting how when you see Ye up there saying all of those things he was saying, it almost humanized the hated Alex Jones. Alex Jones looked like the rational one for a second there. I thought that was pretty interesting, and a lot of people been coming out and saying that as well. These are all like surface level perspectives. All of these things I'm reading off to you here. If we were to look at the thing as, you know, an actual event, but for me, it was a spiritual working. That's if you want to understand, you know, my deepest view on it, it was a spiritual working. It literally, everyone on that stage was dealing with some type of demon, and they were even put on that stage for this theatrical event to unfold before all of our eyes. There's in my view, there's just this much deeper spiritual management that's going on beneath all of this. And it also betrays or exposes the human illogic, right? The root emotionalism of the human being. And it taps the animalistic and the primal core, right? It's like a flesh ritual, right? Yeah, a flesh ritual. And then when I think of flesh ritual, I think of a lot of what we're hearing now. And of course, I pray nothing happens to anyone. I pray no one is hurt through this. But what's interesting is there's this almost a calling for blood in a weird way. And for me, it gets too close to flesh ritual, right? It's creepy. But I think about this already. People are, you know, saying all of these things about possibly being taken out. Let me give you an example. This is from, I found this is Ben Shapiro. And honestly, like, this is pretty dark and I would even argue evil right here, what he says. And it's a short clip. It's only a few seconds. But listen to this, man. Check this out.
Would not be surprised. Would not be surprised, God forbid, something should happen, that Ye should do something to himself, given his behavior. I mean, again, would not be surprised, God forbid, something should happen, that Ye should do something to himself.
You hear him say something should happen, and he switched it right away. If Ye does something to himself, there's this constant like Epstein kind of thing going around now regarding Ye, but not just Ye. That's what guys, this is a massive spiritual working right now. I'm not saying we're going to see blood. I pray we don't. But it's in the language, it's in the symbolism, it's in the sentiment, it's in the imagery, it's everywhere. And for those that understand a little bit about magic, you know how intent works. You know how symbolism and language can be used. It's pretty crazy, man. Now, let me show you this. Where is it? So that was Ye. What happened to it? Oh, okay. I think it's down here. There's also Musk. Musk is getting the same messaging. Check this out. I'm becoming worried that Elon Musk is in life-threatening danger. He's threatening leftist elitists, the status quo, threatening to make government collusion with Twitter public information, actually creating equality and free speech. I'm sorry, he's bringing equality, guys. Free speech. Free speech. I've never seen someone with this much power. I think Brett Weinstein put out something recently. So there's a lot of this sentiment. People are afraid someone's going to take Elon out. Someone's going to take Ye out. And then I saw this. I think this might have been yesterday. Nick Fuentes is out getting some food and he's assaulted. Just demonstrating how, look, man, we don't know what in the heck is going to happen, what's actually happening. But just, you know, these are just examples of this idea, this flesh ritual. So apparently someone threw some ketchup at him or something. Oh, okay, it's not an assault. Well, I guess legally it is. But this is the point. These guys, we have to remember, like, there's real people out in the world that have no idea what a psyop is, that have no idea that a lot of this stuff is just a big work, or that a lot of this stuff are spiritual workings actually occurring in real time. So they look at these individuals as like real legitimate people. And of course, someone like Fuentes or Ye, for instance, might hold positions that really offend them to the degree that if they see them in person, they might want to do something to them. So there's always that real aspect. Yes, someone says staged. Who knows? There's always an element of things being staged, clearly. But there are real people in the world who really got problems with these types, with celebritism, and it's just how it works, man. It's a reality. So the hardest part is we'll never really know what is truly happening, whether it's, you know, a stage thing or if it's some type of spiritual. Yeah, it's on site. Exactly, Jason. Funk on site. Period. It's a very real thing, especially in certain communities. Trust me. So you have to be aware of these things, and you know, I don't know. Just this whole concept of ritual and the spiritual workings that are happening, the dark nature of this all from the Balenciaga recent story that is clearly some type of ritual, clearly putting out spirits, man. And I know for some of you that might be atheists, y'all don't believe in none of this stuff and think it's crazy. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So here we have this local Jewish leaders condemn Ye after rapper praises Hitler in interview with Alex Jones. And he went there, right? He went there with the whole Hail H dog thing. And it just reminded me of this old clip that I just think is prescient and very apropos. So let me play it for you, man. Let's look at good Bill Burr for the Bill Burr fans out there.
Okay, next time Kanye's going off on himself, I'm telling you, just close your eyes, forget it's him, and really listen to what is coming out of this guy's mouth. He says shit like, I'm a genius. I'm a god. I'm Shakespeare. My biggest regret is I'll never get to see myself perform live. That's a direct quote. My biggest regret is I'll never get to see myself perform live. Dude, you put that ego in a white dude that is, ich bin einen in the Streisen. What's the Blitzkrieg? What's the superior race? Vienna will return to Deutschland first.
It's just brilliant. It's just great. Absolutely amazing. And then we could all, well, they're all in on it. That was predictive programming. Bill Burr knows all about it. Either way, it was perfect, man. I couldn't even believe it. I was like, wow. And then some would say, oh, well, you know what? It's not too far of a reach, you know. They're both narcissists. Fair point. Fair point. Let's see. What's next? Call for blood. All right, we did that. Now, Ye as being groomed. You know, I talked about the lawnmower man as possibly Ye being this. He's like being groomed for this new era. I also think Travis Scott is part of that too. I think Travis Scott and Ye are going to be big figures when it comes to this new virtual world. I think they're going to play a role there. Ye as the technocratic utopian, diluting authentic sentiment in the country. With introducing a third way, a synthesis. And no, not a three-way, but a third way, a synthesis. Not left, not right, right? But this new way. This very utopian, he posted this. That day he was just going off. He posted this one thing on Twitter where he was like, you know, love and love speech. We'll go into that here. It's really kind of, believers know what that is. You know, a lot of secularists and people in the world, they have no idea. They think it's good. It's good to love people. See, it's about love. We know what that means, man. We know what that means. Overall, this demonizes Christianity proper as oppressive and obsolete. Right. He's in a sense possibly assisting in the creation of this new Gaian trans world religion. Right. So let's go there. So this is going, for me, I think this connects directly to Kyrie. So before we go into the Raelian and all of that, utopianism, transhumanism with Musk and all that, let's talk quickly, because there's a tie-in here. There's a tie-in with the Kyrie. So my view, Kyrie was a total psyop. And I'm not saying he knew what he was doing, just like I don't think Ye knows what he's doing. I think all of these men and women involved in this thing, whether it's the Kardashians or whoever, they're all being led by dark spirits. They're literally being led by spirits. So if we look at, and this is an aspect of the spiritual warfare, and what people don't realize is Kyrie is not an Israelite. He's not even a Christian. He's an omnist. He practices omnism. So this is a tweet from him a long time ago, back in October. I am an omnist, and I meant no disrespect to anyone's religious beliefs. The anti-Semitic label that is being pushed on me is not justified and does not reflect the reality or truth I live in every day. I embrace and want to learn from all walks of life and religions. Okay? Omnism, the belief that no religion is truth, but that truth is found in them all. So this is very similar to the coexistence movement, right? So a lot of people fell for that whole Kyrie thing. And now I think the free speech aspect, his ability to keep bodily autonomy, I think those are all legitimate things as far as they're true, okay? But this whole thing about him being an Israelite and he's coming to the truth and, you know, pointing people to that Amazon film, that guy ain't about nothing. He's not. He's about omnism, which is fluff. More isms, exactly. Let's look at this here. What is this? Where is it? There it is. Omnism. Omnism is the recognition and respect of all religions and their gods or lack thereof. Those who hold this belief are called omnists, sometimes written as omniist. In recent years, the term has been resurfacing due to the interest of the modern-day self-described omnists who have rediscovered and begun to redefine the term. Omnism is similar to syncretism, the belief in a fusion of faiths in harmony. Okay, this is the trans world religion, Gaian, the Gaian religion that will be propped up by this new mysticism. Hence, variants and contagions and models and all of this abstract crap no one knows. They have to first give us this abstract way of seeing reality before they can introduce us to this new religious way of living. And omnism is just another aspect of this. However, it can also be seen as a way to accept the existence of various religions without believing in all that they profess to teach. And that is the goal, okay? In my view, getting people away from the biblical Christ, getting people away from scripture, biblical living. The Bible is God's word. They must remove that so they can reform, create new standards, and reset. This is it. It can also be seen as a way to accept the existence of various religions without believing in all that they profess to teach. It's interesting how we can't say anything about certain groups, but we can say anything about Christ, regardless of how demonic it is, right? There's a lesson in there. Many omnists say that all the religions contain truths. Truth as a plural. But that no one religion offers all that is truth. See, there it is. There it is. So I find it very interesting how right before the whole Ye thing transpired out into this madness, we had Kyrie kind of laying the foundation for that. Interesting how they're using the chaos magic to create synthesis over time. And that's what this all is. This is all incremental chaotic events used to slowly break down reality, environment, mind, population, society, politics, to create a new type of synthesis of it all, a new type of digitized mystic world of transhumans. Now we go into Ye, right? And his love speech. I wish I would have grabbed that tweet he did off the internet. I couldn't find it, but it was just this weird love stuff. And as we go into this, I want to talk a little bit about, actually, before we go into the love, let's go into Rayleism. So Raylism is this transhumanist, like UFO cult kind of thing. That's fascinating because that's what Ye was removed from Twitter for. He posted this image. Now, the interesting thing is, and this is why I know Musk is definitely part of a massive psychological operation on the population, because he's misrepresenting symbols and meanings whilst he's playing linguistic God in a way, speech God. He's going to fix the freedom of speech problem, right? Where is this? Let's see. Now, Musk said that symbol he posted, which is just the Star of David with a swastika in the middle. Now, anyone that knows a little bit about history knows that symbol's a lot older than its used by Nazis. Now, of course, we understand it's mostly used with reference to, the German sect, but this doesn't mean it doesn't have older meanings. Now, I find it interesting how he banned him for putting that, but he's very familiar with what this symbol is, what it means, even the group. Here you have tweets from the movement. They like Elon Musk has his own plaque by these guys. Like, it's just crazy to me. He knows exactly what this thing is. He's probably a Raelian. And I don't know if like this was Ye trolling him, because these guys know each other. And possibly Ye's down with it too. And given his speech, I'm not far from thinking that might be the case. Could Ye be bringing in some type of New Age Christian, or should I say Christ consciousness? Now, also with this is eugenics, transhumanism, and alien-like worship. It's like a UFO cult. Really, it's creepy, man. And it's just funny because Ye posts this as if it's the new symbol for his movement. Now, could he be that ignorant to not know that already has a movement, or could he actually believe in that New Age movement? Very interesting stuff. Could this all be being brought in under our noses by way of celebritism? Very interesting. And it hurts when you see a Bible on the table and you hear the words, Christ is King. For us believers, man, this is the ultimate truth spoken. And to see it being used that way, yet mixed with all of this kind of off stuff, doesn't sit right. Now, of course, yeah, he's going through stuff. He's struggling with these spirits, right? He's dealing with MK Ultra. You can't take anything this man says seriously at this point. You just cannot. Even all of the Christ talk. So it's a very interesting thing that we're watching live in real time happen. So we'll see where this goes. But I'm going to tell you right now, man, these words that he's using are not scriptural. These aren't big biblical ideas. And he's trying to come off as if he wants to bring back Christianity, bring back Christ, as he said. Yet he's sounding a lot more like a type of utopian, trying to bring utopia on earth. Now, I'm speaking to the believers right now. We have to be very aware of these things, man, because a lot of people, we hear certain things and it hits a little different, right? So we have to Have to be wise. Serpents, but gentle, right? He balanced his Yahoo drink on the Bible. Did he? I don't know. I don't think I saw that. Wow. Wow. Or Yoo-hoo. Sorry, not Yahoo. Yoo-hoo drink, yeah. Very weird, man. Very, very weird. So we had the realism thing, the transhuman realism. This Raelian cult is a transhumanist eugenic UFO cult. So it's just interesting seeing it all, in a sense, mix with Musk. It's just so fascinating, and it makes a whole lot more sense, all of this. Now let me show you something else here. So first let's look at an article, okay? Just to kind of preface this. Elon Musk bans Kanye West from Twitter over posting, or also known as Ye, from Twitter over posting realism religious symbol. Same religious group in 2022 awarded Elon Musk honorary guide title after pushing realism core principles, transhumanism, as we've been saying over and over and over again. Now, also with this, now what's interesting is this is from idahotribune.org. It's a more smaller publication, but if you go to the mainstream, no one's mentioning this Raelian connection. They're saying it's a symbol of hate. They're all they're doing is referring to the let's just say the German sect aspect of it, right? It's interesting. It's so interesting how they want to focus on that, because that's part of the psyop. That's a psyop on the left. That also is a psyop on the right, just pushing this whole Nazi thing. Very interesting. Elon Musk banned Ye from Twitter over posting a UFO religious symbol. Interestingly enough, Elon Musk has not only espoused his personal belief in core foundational tenets of realism, but he's actively pursuing the implementation of its belief system, and was awarded with the honorary guide title from the group's leader in 2022. Now, this is just more evidence for what we've been claiming here, in that Musk is inherently and intrinsically a transhumanist. Okay, so this Raelian, it's not even about this particular group. It's the fact that we're moving towards a type of new mystic religion that will have many different shades and colors. Very, very interesting. Now, let's go to a clip from the B20, which we didn't get to discuss here because there wasn't enough interesting things in that whole event for me to put together a whole show for. But there's this one clip of Elon Musk at the B20 in Indonesia, which is just part of the like the COP27 thing. I call it COPE 27. But this is interesting what he says here with regard to aliens.
Exploring other star systems, and maybe we'll find, alien civilizations, or discover alien civilizations that existed millions of years ago, may no longer exist, but we see the ruins of ancient civilizations. I think that would be incredibly interesting, just to, go out there and explore the galaxy.
I see. Thank you.
There it is. This guy's like really serious about this too. Transhumanism, putting chips in brains, talking about speaking to aliens. Weird. Very, very weird. But he's everyone's hero today. It's just crazy when you think about it. Like, when you know a little bit about what's going on and you see online and social media how people reacting to all of this, it's just like, wow, people have no idea. Now, here's a recent article from Science Club, just shedding a little, not too recent, it's 2021, but recent enough to shed more light on this idea of moving towards a new transhumanist existence, warfare on ontology, changing our perspective of reality, but also a biological warfare that changes our perspective on what makes a human a human. In fact, they go further to refute the concept of God and creation with this crazy idea of maybe we're aliens, right? This is the new part. This is another part of the philosophy that they will be pushing on all of us. Expert says humans are aliens and we were brought to Earth hundreds of thousands of years ago. Yeah, man. Experts say, huh? Doesn't that sound familiar? Here it is. Man. So we're going to get into Crowley here. Yes, let's get into Crowley and sex magic by way of Gen Z, chaos magic with a CK. All right, let's go there. How are we doing on time? Okay. Not bad, not bad. All right. Love speech, he says. I don't know where in the Bible it says anything about love speech. You guys know anything about that? Now, I know he's speaking to the world, but he aims to represent Christ. He aims to represent the truth. Don't you think he should use the proper language, proper messaging? Yeah. Now, where is it at here? There it is. So, as I've been saying for a little while now, there's this new Gen Z conservative movement that in a sense got its start through Fuentes, and that's now expanding by way of this whole situation with Kanye West. So for me, it's like, wow, this is really playing out quickly here. And so another part of this has been, and we talked about him in a recent show, was the streamer Sneeko, who's a massive Gen Z streamer. Been on YouTube since he was like a kid, like literally. There's videos of him when he looks like he can't be older than 11 years old. So he's now joining this. I think I have an image here. Yeah, let me pull this image up. He tweeted this the other day. It's funny how you all understand Ye is simply following Jesus' example by loving everybody. Yet you still choose to be outraged. I find it really interesting. Now, he's a young kid, man. That's the thing. I kind of feel for him, because he's a young kid online. And this is the danger of growing up online, growing up on the internet. It's random. It's deep. It's vast. And there's all types of stumbling blocks. And if you don't have proper guidance, if you're not in the scriptures, you're definitely going to be taken to different doctrines and religions. So it's clear, it's hard to judge him because he's such a kid. He doesn't know anything. And he's literally just being introduced to the faith. In fact, he is considering Islam as well. It's a really interesting battle the young guy is going through, right? Clearly going to be a big part of this as things develop. But for me, this is pushing a false Christ. This is actually turning into a type of Christ consciousness. It's this new age Jesus thing. Love speech. I look at it as the introduction, at least a part of the philosophy of a Gaian trans world religion, which I think is what we're really being introduced to. I know we could talk about and have fun with this whole Kanye thing, and people could talk about it's a psyop, and they get all these different angles. I get it. It's interesting stuff. It's a lot going on, but really at the end of the day, man, from my view, again, and I'm always up for different perspectives, but look, we're really just being introduced to this new age, a new type of mysticism, under the guise of free speech and this, that. It's crazy, but it's here. And I have this article. Racist YouTuber joins Kanye West's campaign. Interesting. Very interesting how this is all working out. Gen Z is really step into the plate, and they were going to play a huge role in this new rite. It's very interesting. Now, okay, we looked at all of those. Okay, I gotta shut that down. All right. Now, love speech. For me, it reminds me of the book of the law. Because if you read the book of the law, what is the law? Under love. So I find it so, oh no. Did I freeze? I froze. Hold up. I think my camera just froze. Okay, so I'm still on there. All right, that's fine. Hold up. Let me refresh. Just have to refresh this, I think. All right, there we go. We're back. Sorry about that, guys. Now, so the book of the law, right? It's this use of love. That's exactly where it leads, because that was Crowley's whole thing, right? And let me give you an example of this. I want to go to the artist who recently came back on the scene, disappeared for a while. Absol. I want to go back to, when was this? Almost 5 years ago. And listen to what he says. Listen to what he says. I think this is speaking to a lot of what we might be hearing down the line. Maybe not references to Crowley, of course, but this concept of love. And we've heard it enough from the Rainbow Brigade and the ABC communities. We see how they're using it. We understand that there's a massive satanic spirit beneath that movement, right? So you can't help but see these things.
Yo, Sab Soul, Pastor Blacklip. Yo, 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 Sab Soul, Pastor Blacklip, TDE. I'm on hot new hip hop. I'm all about getting to the root of things, and Mr. Crowley has been instrumental throughout music for before I was born. You know what I mean? Led Zeppelin, Beatles. There's a lot of great artists that are the building blocks for even hip hop. So me understanding that, you know what I mean, and digging into his story and understanding why he's been so relevant and influential in music culture. I think it was important for me to reinstill that. If you didn't know that, if you missed that part, you know what I mean, if you missed that part of the culture of music in general, this beyond hip hop, but just music in general, he's had a big influence on the culture. At first sight, he's the wickedest man alive, right? That's what he's very wicked, man. But if you dig into the poetry and you read between the lines of his poetry and you dig into his story, a lot of the things will make more sense to you. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it made a lot of sense with me. A lot of the things that he discusses resonates with me. Well, I just want to leave you with this. My album is called Do What Thou Wilt, and it's based off. It's influenced by Crowley's The Book of the Law. Love is the law. Love is the only law. Love under will. The law is for all. Love under will. The law is for all. And
love under will. What I see Kanye pushing a lot is this will thing. He really pushes like the will and love. It's just something we should pay attention to, right? I think it's important. We can't be blind and foolish and swayed by our emotions. We have to listen to the words, but discern what is the subtext.
If you read the Christian Bible, that's the only commandment that Jesus left. So, also a great quote is, the righteous will remain righteous and the filthy will remain filthy. So, thinking along those lines, you know what I'm saying? You know, and even do what thou wilt itself, you know, free will is what it kind of sounds like, right? So, you know, all of these, you know, just me, you know, into theology and into history and these things, putting these parallels together, these different ideas, it's just great stuff. You know, it's the only law, love under will, the law is for all. And, you know, if you read the Christian Bible, that's the only commandment that Jesus left.
There it is. There it is. That's what we will be hearing a lot about. That's precisely what we see here. Precisely what we see here with Sneako's tweet. Okay. This will be used, in my view, and I think this is what a lot of this yay thing has to do with. Besides the free speech, that's a whole other angle we're going to spend a lot more time in later when I do when I post the Elon video. This is a spiritual thing. We're really dealing with this ultimately. And this is the hard part for a lot of non-believers and secularists. This is the hard part. This is the part that they can't necessarily divide and discern, right? So hopefully we could provide some of this understanding, because there's much more to this than politics and culture and free speech and rights and all of this stuff everybody's talking about. This ultimately is a move to remove the biblical Christ and biblical teachings, the ultimate truth of Scripture, right? So, in my view, the way they're doing this is bringing in a false sense of Christ and a false sense of Scripture, and that Scripture is not God's word. It shouldn't be followed. It's archaic, and Christ isn't who the Scripture says he is. In fact, they want to create their new Christ, their new religion. And I personally believe they're going to accomplish this through AI. It's my belief that, and I've said this here, it's my belief that Elon will be introducing new types of AIs. I think they're going to first start with, say, an AI rapper. That might be the first one. AI rappers, cybernetically enhanced athletes, that's a different realm, but that will be occurring over the next 5 years. AI rappers, and essentially a type of AI politician or some type of influential figure that they will present such that it passes the Turing test. And if it passes the Turing test, that's game over. Game over as far as social media is concerned, because then no one will know the difference. No one will know if they're talking to a human or AI. And I really think that's essentially, that's all Elon is really, aside from the brain chips, of course, but that's really what Elon is interested in. That's why he's dealing with Twitter. This is about creating a new civilization on the back of free speech. We'll see how it transpires. We'll see. But so think about this. Kanye West posts up the symbol of Raelian cult, UFO cult, transhumanist, eugenic cult. We find out that Elon knows very well what this cult is, what this symbol means. We know very well that Elon wants to make an interplanetary civilization where we go to different planets. He wants to put chips in brains and create a type of Skynet where he could literally play God under the guise of machine learning and algorithms. But at the same time, he has this obsession with aliens and truly believes, and I don't think he's lying, I think these guys really believe this stuff, truly believes we're going to interact with aliens or the fallen, right? And then I think of this whole concept of love and love speech Ye is using now. And then I think of the relation, love in its relation to Crowley and the Book of the Law, Law Under Love. And then I think of Aiwass, Crowley's introduction, Crowley's first real significant workings. You guys know what Aiwass looked like? Yeah. This is the picture. This is the image he drew. Looks like an alien to me, man. This is ayahuasca. Let's read a little bit. Ayahuasca, imposing entity who dictated to Aleister Crowley the Book of the Law, Crowley's most significant magical work. Crowley considered ayahuasca to be his holy guardian angel or divine higher self, acting as an intermediary for higher beings, such as the secret chief superhuman adepts of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Very, very interesting. Occultists have debated whether ayahuasca was an entity in its own right or part of Crowley himself. For Crowley, the holy guardian angel was a discrete entity and not a dissociated part of his own personality. Crowley originally spelled the entity's name Aiwaz, but then later changed the spelling to Aiwas for numerological reasons. You just can't help but see the very real connections between transhumanism, aliens, love, and demonic spiritual workings, as well as some of the most famous and influential individuals in front of all of us today. The Greys, yeah, that's another way to look at it, David. Yeah. Demons, says Dew Season. Well, of course, absolutely spot on. The Fallen Ones, says Sister B. Yeah. Lamb. Yeah, there's another one, Rabbi. Yeah. Really, I'm staying open as I always do, but we're definitely going to connect dots. We're going to see patterns, right? And we're going to address those patterns, but we're going to ultimately stand strong on the truth, right? And you just think about this guy and his behaviors lately and all of the satanic sentiment. He jokes, I'm just joking. I'm just a edgy guy. I get that whole thing. But this guy believes deeply in a lot of this stuff. Right? And then you just see all the connections to Egypt with Crowley. And then that just reminds me of back when Elon posted that tweet about Egypt or the pyramids being built by aliens. Right? Egypt invites Elon Musk to visit Giza. Pyramids following controversial tweet. Egyptian public figures, Minister of International Cooperation Dr. Reina Al-Mashat, and renowned Egyptologists denounced Elon Musk's comment that the pyramids were built by aliens on social media. Elon Musk, American entrepreneur and businessman who founded SpaceX in 2002, tweeted on Friday that the pyramids were built by aliens. It's just, just putting it out there, man. It's silly, clearly. But man, these guys are kind of strange. They think some really weird things. Now, here's an article about the love speech thing. This is really going around right now. He's really using this term. Ye pens love speech to industry executive Ari Emanuel. I lost $2 billion in one day. So interesting. Isn't it interesting how someone could go from 11 billion to 400 million he's claiming now? Now, not like, yeah, Kemet, of course, if we're going to be accurate, Master Gil Bates. Sure, of course. Thank you for that. But if we're going, well, let's think about this. 11 billion to 400 million. That's what he's claiming. As if any of this means anything or matters, it doesn't. But it just shows you, at least from my perspective, it appears as if this whole thing is like just the concept of these wealthy billionaires. It's all nonsense, and they're just slowly trying to push it away as we go into this new stakeholder capitalism of this digitized human capital system. So, yeah, it's just love speech. $2 billion in one day, really? You could lose $2 billion, and that maybe it's possible. What do I know, right? I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know much about any of that stuff. So a lot of this stuff seems like a massive work that's used to get us to worship these people because they're wealthy, they have so much power, and this false sense of prestige, right? It's all lies. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, love speech, right? It's love speech. It's his way to, it's like a rebuttal to hate speech. Not very clever, but just this whole concept of love and everything we've discussed today, it just doesn't. Oh, and then did you see that? So he recently tweeted, and I agree with what he's saying regarding corn or pornography, where he's basically saying like it should be illegal. We need to remove it and all this stuff. It ruined my family. Yeah, I'm sure it did, and it's horrible. It's demonic. It shouldn't exist, right? It shouldn't exist. But it's just interesting how, for me, I think of Crowley and I think of the workings, and I think of this idea of the Scarlet Woman. Now, be looking out for that. I think we will see a Scarlet Woman coming soon. If this is really part of the Crowleyan ancient workings, we just might see some new Scarlet Women popping out. Possibly the Kardashians are Scarlet Women. I think that's probably pretty obvious. And it's interesting how he's like anti-prawn now, which I personally agree with, but I think that's just going to increase its influence. If anything, it's going to create more interest and even a new battle to support it. In fact, it's just so extreme. And I think that's part of a lot of these extreme things we're seeing, is to push things so left and so right that they could get a type of synthesis that removes certain aspects of our lives, our culture and civilization, things that they can finally do away with, like the Bible, like the biblical Christ, right? Like bodily autonomy, for instance. Yeah. Definitely. Also, I think we're seeing a great falling away, right? And I think this whole Ye, Nick, Sneeko, all these guys, because they don't represent, they claim this weird sense of Christianity, but they're not biblical Christians, okay? And well, Nick I think he's a Catholic, and Sneeko is confused between Islam and Christianity, doesn't know what he believes. Ye is clearly not demonstrating proper scripture or biblical teaching, and we understand he's breaking free, so we can't expect much of him, so that's understandable. And then we have someone like Milo. Let me show you this here, just to give you an understanding of what I mean. It's like a cultural spectrum engineering, right? Part of the spiritual warfare. So what we're seeing here is an attack on its full spectrum, in that it's attacking all generations with a figure for each, right? So it's like full spectrum secular representation. So there's a representation for every generation in this new right movement. So with the baby boomer generation, we get Alex Jones, who is like the crazy conspiracy theorist who's going to, in a sense, single-handedly discredit any type of dissent, and he's already done that, right? We have what is this? Kanye, who's like a Gen X, right? We have, of course, Milo, who's like a millennial, and then we have Nick and Sneeko, who are Gen Z. So the Gen Z is the future youth, okay? Millennials is like the Rainbow Brigade with Milo, and then with Ye we get the celebrity, like the hip hop, this hip hop representation, which popularizes everything, okay. And then, of course, you get to top it off with the crazy conspiracy theorists. And so you get full spectrum secular representation, but also full spectrum Christian misrepresentation. None of these people actually represent true Christianity in any way at all. Okay? Clearly. So that's damning for the faith, if we're going to consider any of these people representations of it. whether they claim it or not. Now, playing the extremes against the middle, creating a type of synthesis, right? Obsolescing Christianity proper. That's, from my view, I think that's a big takeaway from this, regardless of like what all the little details and like free speech and all of that stuff. For me, it's like this really pushes us away from what scripture really teaches, and it also misrepresents who Christ is. And I think that I know that's their ultimate goal, right? Definitely. Now, so you have Groypers, Gen Z, Chaos Magic, Love is the Law. Oh, even Diddy. Didn't Diddy change his name to Love or something? Hold up, man. Are you guys familiar with that? Did Diddy change it? He's like Love now? I saw a clip of him, like, it was funny, man. He was dressed up like Joker for Halloween. He's like, oh, I'm Love, man. He's like, I'm Love. Call me Love. It's pretty funny. Let's see. His message. Alien Christ, AI Christ, yeah. Gaian Christianity, Christ consciousness, yeah. I see a lot of this like development of these things. It's wacky and bizarre, but there's purpose and intent behind it. And I think what we see with the free speech stuff is that's the part that aims to subdue our will, our free will through language, hence free speech. So if you control language, you control thoughts, right? And if you control thoughts, you control populations. So I think really that's a big, aside from, of course, training AI with behavioral data, human behavioral data, full spectrum, secular representation. So yeah, we have virtual silo societies is eventually where a lot of this is going to go. Now, I want to bring up the concept or the idea of the falling away. It just seems like we're falling away as we go for these celebrities, and we look to them as some source of change. They're going to make things better, and that's just not biblical. We don't aim to change the world. And I think a lot of these individuals, especially Kanye right now, he seeks to change the world. Like he had this whole thing about love. It's just very utopian. So I can't get on board with any of that. And I just think it's rather alarming. So I want to pull out some scripture here. I want to go to 2 Thessalonians, just to begin here and read this little bit here, because I think this might be part of what we're experiencing. 2 Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as the day of Christ is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all this is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Now, I think this is very important to think about, because it definitely seems like a falling away of faith when people start to look to, pop culture celebrities to guide them into some new spiritual realm of life. It just seems to be like where we're going. Let's see here. Let no man deceive you by any means. And I think we're being deceived, definitely, by a lot of these new nominally Christian cultural, political figures. And unfortunately, they're young, like the Gen Z guys. So we could get this almost a deception for a lot of these young potential believers, right? It's dangerous, I think. If we're going to address the truth, if we're going to address faith, we have to do that scripturally and not through the truth community, because that's where a lot of this leads. That's where we see, the Sneakos and a lot of these types, the Andrew Tates, and, they're going to the internet to find figures and elements of truth, but not the ultimate truth, right? They don't have proper wisdom and guidance. They just have snapshots of these things. Yeah. The son of perdition, right? It seems all too, it just seems all too close, Things are just adding up a bit too much with a lot of this stuff. And I want to go to Isaiah. Let's go to Isaiah 8:20. The law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. So what we find here is people like Ye or even Nick or whoever else are part of these things claiming a type of Christianity or claiming Jesus. They don't speak according to the word. They speak according to their ways, their new age philosophies. It's dangerous, especially considering where we're going with technology, where we're going culturally, right? It's not a good look. An example of, I have a little audio here, an example of the falling away. Let me just play it for you real quick, just so you could get a...
The falling away is a departure from the light of truth of God's word. It's a drifting from God's commandments, and it's the institution of the commandments of men for the commandments of God.
All right, Pastor Mark.
So I had that little clip there just to give a description of what the falling away is. It's a departure from the truth. So it's interesting to me as we're seeing this new push towards truth through a lot of these new truther communities, these new truther YouTubers, promoting all of this new age insanity. We also see a lot of these political figures and cultural figures coming out and doing the exact same thing in different ways, but they're all different examples of type of departure from the truth, and especially from scripture. So for me, that's very troubling. Because what we're seeing is a false sense of Christianity start to come out into the world. Now, there is also, of course, there are people being saved through this. There's definitely people coming back to the truth. There's always going to be that element. But I just think we need to start paying very close attention to these individuals, regardless of how famous they are, that are putting our faith's words in their mouths, right? Now, back to the beginning of this, would I have Kanye on? Honestly, I don't think I would. Someone asked me about Timcast before. If I wouldn't even respond. I've been hit up by a lot of different people. I don't want nothing to do with none of that stuff. You will never see me on Timcast, okay? You will never see me on Rogan, okay? I don't want nothing to do with any of these circles of people. I don't trust none of it. Okay? Period. I'm just a kid from the Bay. I like to keep things simple. Do my thing, read, love the people around me, study, create truth content for you guys. That's what I'm here to do. Serve the Most High God through serving his creation. That's what I'm here to do, man. I'm not here for nothing else. So, and it's getting to the point where these types are getting on channels. Like, it's crazy seeing Nick Fuentes with Kanye West. It's like, what the hell is going on here? So no, I wouldn't have him on, because that's just not. I'm good, man. Nah, I don't want nothing to do with that world. You know, I live to my best ability apart from the world, man. I like my simple life, and I'm not interested in any of that stuff. Period.